Hi guys, it's Jordan here from IGPGFX, and today I'm doing a tutorial on how to make 3D glowing lines that look like they're wrapping around an object. You can do this to text like I've got in this example here, or you can do it to an image, which is what I'm going to do in the following tutorial. So I'll just minimize that. So as you can see, I've got like a starting composition done here, which I've got just a background with a gradient on it and a Dragonov from, was it Dragonov or Dragonov, I don't know, from Battlefield 3, just for an example. One of the things you do have to think about is that if you are using an imported image, you will have to have transparencies on it so that you can like see the background and the lines behind it, otherwise the effects doesn't really work. If it doesn't have transparencies on it, you can make like them transparent by just using like either the magic wand or the pen tool to select and remove it and everything like that. So without further ado, we'll just move on. I'll just delete this layer quickly. Right, so what we're going to do is we're first going to draw a path, which is what our line is going to be like. So just want to draw like a zigzag, like so. And then what we're going to do now is we're going to grab the convert point tool, which you can get by holding down on the pen tool, then moving down onto this convert point tool. And if you use this, you can sort of click on these sort of squares on the thing and then drag out these arms, and they allow you to sort of just round off the corners really. So if you just pull all these out in turn, all the edges and the corners are rounded off like that, so it looks all curvy and nice. That's going to be fine. So now what we need to do is we need to select our brush. So if we go onto the brush tool, we'll just create a new layer. And now if we right click, what you want to do is you want to select this brush here. It's you can select any of these actual like simulated brushes rather than just the shape brushes. So if you select one of them, and I've got my size set to 6 pixels, although you can set the size to whatever you want. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go, you can have your foreground and background colours whatever you want. I'm just going to have it as white for the time being. So then we go onto our paths, and then you see it's got our work path here. If you can't find your paths, menu thing, if you just go to window and then paths is just down here. So then we're going to right click, making sure we've got our clear layer selected, which you can add by clicking this sort of post-it note thing down here, and you just right click on it and go stroke path. And then for your tool you want to use the brush, because that's the brush you just selected there. Then you want to make sure you've got simulate pressure ticked. So we'll just press OK now, and it will sort of paint all the way down here. Right, now what we can do is we can delete this path now, because we don't really want it in the way anymore. So now if we go over to our layers tab, we can double click to open it up, and then what we can do is we can put in a color overlay if you want to change the color of it. So I'm gonna make this sort of like an orangey sort of line thing. So I'm just gonna put an orange color overlay on there, and then I'm also going to put on an outer glow. Now for the outer glow, you change the blend mode to normal, change the color to whichever color you want your glow to be, and then you can sort of expand the size out a bit. I'd leave the spread where it is, because if I'm honest, I don't really use spread that often because I think it ruins the effect really. So also if you wanted to, you can change the opacity, but I just leave it at the default 75, and you just press OK. Now this is the bit where we make it all look nice and 3D, so it's going to be like wrapping around all of our text or image. So what we're going to want to do is we are going to want to select the eraser tool, and then making sure our layer is selected, which has got this path drawn on it, we can erase like alternate lines. So if you look, I've now got that line's done, so that line's going to be erased. Ooh. Just erase it all. And then we're going to have to do this one on the barrel here. This probably isn't the best example because there's not many bits you can see which go behind But anyway, there we go. So now we've done that, we can zoom back out, and that is like a basic sort of glowing line there. But then what we can also do is we can add some like particle effects, which will be like sticking out. So if we select our brush tool and click on this menu icon up here, which allows us to actually create the brush how we want, and then what we're going to do is we're going to select just a circular brush, and then we're going to change the size down to whatever, so I'm going to change it down to 3, and then we can move the spacing up a bit like so, probably put it on 200%, and then we'll go on to scattering. And what we want to do is we want to scatter, you can leave it off both axes actually, and then what I have it set at the moment is around 650%, and as you can see in this sort of preview box, it's getting a bit scattered now. And then what we're going to go and do is we're going to go to transfer and put an opacity jitter on, and what that's going to do is it's going to make some of them more transparent than others and stuff like that. And then I think that's it. Is that it? Just check. Oh, if you go on shape dynamics, sorry, and then change the size jitter up a bit, I'd probably leave it on about 50, and that is it. So now what we want to do is, with the brush tool selected, we can exit out of this menu, and then with the brush tool selected on a new layer, which you can add by pressing the sort of post-it note thing, we are just going to paint sort of around our line. And as you can see, it's just putting like these random dots for want of a better description all over it. So you can sort of like lay these up if you want, and like you can make them expand out further from the line and stuff. Doesn't matter if you're not completely exact, because obviously you're using random dots, so it's not going to look too bad even if you do go off a bit. And we're just going to draw all the way around here until we get to the end, like so. And then what we can do is we need to check to make sure it's all erased around here, so we just pick up the eraser tool and make sure we don't have any bits on the barrel or places like that, like so. And then if we zoom back out, as you can see, we've got quite a nice sort of wavy line, and all we need to do now is we can, what I find helps is if you tint the dots to like a sort of matching colour as your line. You can put an outer glow on as well if you want, so just make it like that, and then that is you pretty much done. Obviously colour schemes, different colour schemes will work better than others. So if you see, if I change this to say a grey and black, oh dear lord, sorry, if I change this to like a dark grey and black sort of colour scheme like so, you see it sort of works differently depending on what sort of thing. So if on a black background it looks a lot sort of more 3D, but then if I put it back to the blue background, if we select our image or text and put a drop shadow on and then put the distance up a bit, you can actually make it like a really good 3D effect, because it like gives it sort of more depth on the picture and stuff like that. So I've been Jordan from IGPGFX. Thanks for watching this tutorial. I hope you found it useful. Please subscribe, rate and comment if you did. If you didn't, tell me why, and thank you and goodbye.